Hi there, in this video I'm going to talk about the cost of living in Salem, Utah. Salem is a city about 19 minutes south of Provo, so if you want to know what it costs you to live in Salem, Utah, then stick around. It's going to be a good video because I'm getting after it right now. Hi, first time to my channel and you want to know what it's like to live, sleep, eat, work, the good and the bad of living in Provo, Utah. Well then, specifically today I'm talking about the cost of living in Salem, Utah. Then go ahead and subscribe to my channel, like this video, and make sure to click on that notification bell so that you get notified every time I drop another video about what it's like living in and around Provo, Utah. My name's Scott Walters and I get calls every day from people just like you looking to make a move to Provo, Utah. So if you're looking at moving in 9 days or 90 days, reach out to me. I absolutely love it when people reach out to me. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. We can set up a Zoom call, whatever we need, so I can give you whatever information you need to make a smooth move to the Provo, Utah area. And again, today, specifically talking about the cost of living in Salem, Utah. So with that, let's talk about Salem, Utah. Okay, so first up on my list for Salem and the cost of living has got to be what's it going to cost you to live in Salem as far as housing. What's it going to cost you to either buy a home or to rent a home or a room in the Salem, Utah city area. So I was just checking out local or just current statistics. There are 25 active listings in Salem, Utah. 2 of those are in the $2 million range. So on a home that's in the $2 million range, you can expect to be paying taxes anywhere from $6,000 to $7,000. That's a year payment. Again, one of the great things about Utah is the property taxes are relatively inexpensive compared to surrounding cities where your tax bill is going to be much higher. But yeah, $6,000 to $7,000 roughly is your yearly tax bill on a home that's in that $2 million range. Expect your payments to be in the $13,000 a month plus range. And that's going to get you a home that's 8,000 square feet or bigger. So these are very large homes. If you're going to rent that home, you're probably going to pay a pretty similar price to rent it. I really don't see a lot of those homes in that range for rent in Salem. 3 listings in the 1 million plus range. Those are going to cost you about $4,000 to $4,500 per year for your property tax bill. Payment's going to be in that $7,300 to $7,800 a month range. And you're looking at fairly large homes. These are homes in the 5,000 to 6,000 square footage range, maybe a little even more than that, depending on the age. The reason there's a range on these homes is because some of them are newer and much more updated on the inside, and some are a little bit older and a little more dated. So there is a range on those. So the next range of homes in Salem, there were 6 of them. These are in the $700,000 to $900,000 range. And homes like that, your tax is going to be $3,500, $3,800 a year, roughly in there. I expect payments in the $5,000 to $5,500 a month range. Again, it's going to depend upon whatever interest rate you have and what down payment you put and all that. Those homes are going to be in the 4,000-ish square footage range, 4,000 to 5,000, 4,500 roughly. Again, it's all going to depend upon how new it is, how nice it is. Now the next, and here's the biggest range of prices for homes in Salem, $500,000 to $600,000, and the $600,000, some of those were bumping right almost up to $700,000. Tax bill anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000 per year is your property tax bill. Expect payments in the $3,300 to $3,800 a month range on that. And those are homes. Some of those homes are $2,500, some are $3,500. So that's a pretty big range. That's about 1,000 square feet. Again, that's really going to depend upon if it's a newer home or one was built 20, 30, 40 years ago. Those homes are going to be a little cheaper because they're just not as updated and nice on the inside. Finally, there was only 1 home in the $400,000 range. So that's just not a price range that's very common in Salem currently. You're just not going to find a lot of homes in that range. It was an older home. The tax is about $1,800 a year. Payments are about $2,600 if you pay that $400. I think it was $450 was the price, and it was about a 2,000 square foot home. So finally, Salem does have some townhomes, no condominiums, but there are some townhomes. Currently, 4 of those townhomes are for sale. $379 to $390 is the price range. That's going to give you a tax bill yearly of about $1,350. expect your payments to be about $2,300 a month for those. And the square footage on those homes in those townhomes in that price range from 1,200 to 1,600 square feet. So that's what you're looking at when it comes to purchasing a home and the cost of living for Salem. What's it going to cost you to rent a home? I'm seeing a lot of some of those townhomes for rent. Generally, they're right around $2,000 a month is what the townhomes are renting for. Also, the typical size home that you see listed for rent in Salem is going to be about 2,500 to 3,000 square feet. They're going to be 5 to 6 bedrooms, and they're going to have 3 full bathrooms. Those homes are renting anywhere from $2,800 up to $3,300 a month. So just plan on paying close to $3,000 a month for rent if you want a single family home with a yard. I'm definitely seeing people renting out their what we call mother-in-law basements. So these are attached. Usually they have a separate entrance into the basement of the main home, and have a kitchenette. And those are generally 2 to 3 bedrooms, anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 square feet. So usually pretty good sized basements that you can rent out. Typically, those are renting anywhere from $1,500 to $1,600, and oftentimes that will also include your utility bill. Maybe not your internet or cable, but generally it will include like I say, your utility bill. So that just give you an idea there. And there may be a few places to find single rooms. Really not a lot in Salem. I have a son who's renting a single room up in Provo, and that's going for $500. So I just assume that's probably about the going rate for a single room in the Salem area. And then if you need to rent something, just an apartment, the closest apartments are over in Payson, about 3 or 4 miles from Salem, right next to the Payson Hospital. And those homes, those 1 bedroom up to 3 bedrooms, are renting from anywhere from $1,500 to almost $2,000. So anyway, that'll give you an idea of the cost of living as far as it comes to housing costs in Salem. Okay, one of the other costs that I think people like to know about is just kind of a general idea of what it's going to cost you for utilities. When I'm speaking of utilities, I'm talking about what is it going to cost you to heat your home, what's it going to cost you to cool your home with air conditioning, what's your water bill going to be, garbage, sewer, all that kind of stuff, your natural gas bill for your running your furnaces. So what's all that going to be? Typically, I would say really it's going to depend upon how cold you want it and how hot you want it. That'll definitely affect what you're going to pay for utilities. And also, of course, the size of the home that you live in is also going to drastically affect how much your cost of utilities are. Generally speaking, most of the rates around Utah Valley are pretty similar, pretty typical. Generally, there's going to be a base rate for your utility bill, as far as there's a base rate for your electricity, and then when you go over a certain rate, then they bump you up into a different tier and charge you a higher price for every wattage that you use at a different range. Same thing with the water. Like generally there's a water bill. You pay a base rate for a certain amount of culinary water you get to use. Once you go over that rate, then they throws you a little higher tier, and so the usage above that's charged at a different fee. Same with like your pressurized irrigation. Most of the cities have secondary water in Utah Valley, which is like pressurized irrigation, where they're using non-culinary water to water the lawns. And so oftentimes you pay a flat fee for a certain amount of usage. Right now, a lot of the cities just you pay a flat fee and you can water as much as you want. I'm seeing that going away in pretty much most of the cities, because Utah has been in a pretty serious drought for the last number of years, and sometimes people don't conserve the way they should. And so a lot of the cities are actually putting meters now on their pressurized irrigation, so that you will begin to be metered for your water usage to kind of help encourage people to conserve water a little bit. A lot of the cities also have just a flat rate that you pay for your garbage can, your garbage collection, your sewer costs for having the sewer system, and so forth. So this is just kind of an estimate of what I would expect that you pay in pretty much every city in Utah Valley, again, depending upon the size of your house. Next up on the list is transportation. So here's another topic that's very subjective, because it really depends upon what your situation is. But if it comes to public transportation, Utah Valley and all of Utah does have access to the Utah Transit Authority system, which operates buses, sometimes carpooling vans, and they also have a TRAX. It's a train system that runs currently from Ogden to Provo. I've heard that they're going to have lines extensions down to Payson. I don't know when that's going to happen. and they are making more lateral lines, because right now it just goes north and south basically. And I've heard they will have some lateral lines that run east and west. There are some of those in like downtown Salt Lake. They do have the tracks that runs around the city, but for the most part, tracks runs north and south, and you can pick that up at the main place really in Utah Valley is in Provo and in Lehi. Orem might have a stop, I can't remember. So bus passes to ride the UTA is around $85. That's for a monthly pass that lets you ride a bus all month long. If you want to have the all-inclusive pass, that's like $170, $180 a month, which lets you also use the bus and then the tracks and the other options that they have for transportation. So, and they have day rates. If you don't need a whole monthly pass, you can buy a pass for a day or for a week. So, you know, you can always check out UTA's website and just see what their different prices are for using their public transportation system. So that's what it looks like when it comes to public transportation. Of course, most people in the area use private vehicles to have your own car. And what's it going to cost you to operate your vehicle? Well, that really depends upon what you drive. I mean, if you're using a Suburban, then you're going to be paying, you know, $100 plus to fill that tank up, and how much you drive that. Maybe you fill that thing up 2 or 3 times a month. So you could have a $300 or $400 a month fuel bill with a large Suburban, or maybe like a large pickup truck. You know, you can cut your costs, of course, if you go with all electric, you know, like you see the Teslas around. Of course, the acquisition cost for one of those is a little higher than a gas-powered vehicle, so you have to account for that. But then again, it's just the cost of, you know, plugging into your electricity and charging up your car. Another great option for your transportation is a hybrid. I bought a hybrid a couple of years ago. It's a Honda Insight, and I'm getting anywhere from 46 to 51 miles per gallon with that. So I've been quite pleased with the fuel efficiency of that. So again, a totally subjective topic, because it depends upon what kind of vehicle that you drive. But you do have, of course, the option to drive your personal vehicle, but we do have public transportation throughout Utah Valley. Hey guys, if you're finding this video helpful about the cost of living in Utah Valley cities, then go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you tap that notification bell so you can stay current every time I drop another video about what it's like living in Provo, Utah and Utah Valley. So childcare and preschool, those are the next items up on my list. What's it going to cost you to have your children watched for while you're off to work? Looking around online, looking at most of the daycare places, I'm seeing that you're going to pay anywhere from you know, $150 to $170 a month, or a week, excuse me, that's for a week per child. Generally, it's a little higher charge for kids that are 2 and under, about $170 a week for those kids, and then $150 a week for kids older than that. And of course, there's also different pay rates too, depending on whichever daycare that you talk to, and that maybe you'll only need your child watched for 2 or 3 days a week, and there's different pay for that. But if you want them watched 5 days a week, or different costs for that. But if you want them watched 5 days a week, then expect to be paying anywhere from the $150 to $170 a month or a week range. You may be able to find some people that offer daycare right out of their home that charge a little cheaper prices, but generally that's kind of the average I'm seeing. Now the other cost, a lot of people, maybe they don't need their child in a full-time daycare all day, but maybe a preschool for a couple hours a week, kind of get them prepared for kindergarten. Well, generally you're going to be seeing somewhere between $90 and $110, and that is a monthly bill. That's the price that I was seeing. That generally gets you 3 days a week. If you want them 5 days a week at preschool, then expect about $150 a month for preschool. My wife and I used a local preschool provider. We paid $90 a month per child. That got them 3 days a week at the preschool, and they were well prepared for kindergarten. So anyway, that gives you an idea what it may cost you for childcare here in the Utah Valley area. So a huge cost of living item certainly are groceries. What's it going to cost you to feed your family? And of course, with the inflation going up, it's costing more and more all the time. So what I suggest that people do, and of course I kind of base this upon how it handles my family. I have a family of 8, and so you know, about half of those are adults, so they eat a lot of food. I'm budgeting roughly $100 to $150 a month per person. That generally is enough to provide enough, the basics, the meat, milk, and eggs. And of course, you can keep your bills a lot cheaper if you're a little more frugal. I mean, steak and all kinds of meat has definitely gone up, so we don't have that all the time because it costs you quite a bit to buy beef, even chicken's going up. So anyway, but I think if you estimate on about that 100 to 150 a month, that's pretty good per person. That's a pretty good estimate on what it'll take to feed your family. And of course, if your tastes are a little more than that, it can cost you more if you're wanting to buy more expensive cuts of meat or expensive seafood or things of that nature. Then you're going to pay a bigger grocery bill. And now, one of the nice things about all over Utah Valley is you have some nice options for shopping. A lot of grocery stores run sales in all the different towns around Utah Valley, so you can definitely shop the sales. That's one way to keep your bill down. Just every week, different stores have different sales going on for the different staples, so just keep an eye out for that. Yeah, one of the things that my family likes to do to help keep that bill down is we grow a yearly garden. Every single year we grow a garden. I'll plant in there lettuce, beets, carrots, onions, peppers, lots of tomatoes, sometimes potatoes. I throw in a couple things in there that my wife likes that I don't. I always plant kohlrabi. She loves those. She loves radishes. I plant those. I also like to plant herbs because in almost all the grocery stores they have those packages of about like that of fresh herbs that you can use for your cooking. And those things are usually around $5. Well, for $5 you can buy like a whole bunch of those plants and have them right out in your garden. So currently I've got just a ton of tomatoes coming off of my tomato plants. And so I don't even have to go to the garden or to the store to buy tomatoes. And there's nothing better than a fresh tomato. It doesn't even compare to what you buy at the grocery store. So that's just one way, one option to keep your bill down. Grow a garden. Utah is a great climate for growing gardens. You can start your garden as early as March. That's a little early. If you're going to start in March, you're going to be planting onions and peas. I generally wait till right around mid-May, so I know that I'm past all of the frost or freezing issues. Another thing that I do too is I've got a lot of fruit trees in my yard. Utah grows a lot of great fruit. I get great peaches, pears, apples, cherries, apricots, plums, pluots. You can grow all kinds of great produce that way. So anyway, that just will give you an idea of cost of living when it comes to buying groceries in the Utah Valley area. Again, I'm just going to reiterate, budget anywhere from 100 to 150 a month per person, and you should be okay. So one of the other large expenses that a lot of people have is internet and phone bill. Sometimes they tie those things together. I was looking online, and so the numbers that I got, I'm coming from the big three when it comes to cell phone service. I'm talking about the big three providers, and T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. They're probably the biggest. And again, keep in mind the comparison chart that I looked at is subject to change. These companies are changing and offering sales all the time, but I have used all three services in Utah County. Now the website I was looking at showed that T-Mobile's generally their first line is about $65, two lines $100, and then about $20 a month thereafter for additional lines. AT&T came in around $75 for one line, $140 for two, and then again about $20 for each line after. And then Verizon was the most expensive at $80 for that first line, and then about $140 for two lines and $20 thereafter. Now, when it comes to internet, well, some people just have cut the internet all together and they just use the internet on their phones. You can certainly do that. There's a lot of different internet providers around. I currently use Xfinity. It's actually wrapped in together with my landline and my cable bill. So I mean, I'm paying something like $180 a month, and that gets me all three services. So it cost me more for internet if I didn't. But I've seen some internet services that are $30 a month, not super fast speeds, and some that are 60, 80, 90, and even more. So again, this is one where you just got to shop around and see which one works best for you, what you need. So anyway, there's an idea of what it may cost you for internet and cell phone bills in the Utah Valley area. Okay, so finally we got to talk one last cost of living, and that's entertainment. How much are you going to pay to have fun? Well, again, this is something that's totally subjective because it really depends upon what you like to do for fun. Now, all over Utah Valley, one of the great things about the Provo area is its access to a lot of outdoor recreation. So generally, it's just the cost to get you to that activity. So there's several canyons throughout Utah Valley that have fantastic I call it entertainment or recreation if you like the outdoor stuff. You've got American Fork Canyon to the north. That's a beautiful canyon. You've got the Timpanogos Cave that's up American Fork Canyon. American Fork Canyon is, basically the Alpine Loop Road, which is absolutely a stunning and beautiful drive, especially in the fall with all the fall colors. Provo Canyon, you would be passing Sundance, which is up Provo Canyon, which has fantastic world-class skiing along with beautiful outdoor summer activities. You can actually mountain bike there. You can pay for your lift pass, and they've got a way that you can hook your mountain bike onto the ski lift. They also have a summer theater season. They have an outdoor theater that's on the ski slopes, so that's a beautiful setting. I've been there a couple times with my wife watching Mamma Mia and Footloose. Those are the two plays that we watched recently. Also, some of the other canyons you have that you can go recreate at and have some entertainment is you have Hobble Creek Canyon. That's just right outside of Springville and Mapleton. They have a beautiful golf course up there, Hobble Creek Golf Course. Speaking of golfing, Utah Valley has fantastic golf courses. So if you move a little further south of Hobble Creek Canyon, then you got Spanish Fork Canyon. Spanish Fork Canyon, you can take that up and get up into Diamond Fork, which has some great fishing on the Diamond Fork River and then the Spanish Fork River. There's, again, a lot of camping and hiking in that area. It's not that far of a drive to go up Spanish Fork Canyon to get to Strawberry Reservoir. Schofield Reservoir is also up that canyon. That's not very far. Going back north to Provo Canyon, you can take Provo Canyon, and in 30 minutes you're at Deer Creek Reservoir. Jordanelle also is not very far from there. A ton of outdoor recreation like that. Now when you move further south, well, then you got Payson Canyon and access to the Nebo Loop Road. They also have Sanquin Canyon a little further south to that, and then Nephi Canyon. So tons of canyons to go up, lots of activities there. And then of course Utah Valley has Utah Lake. A lot of people enjoy boating on there, fishing on there, wakeboarding, kite surfing, all kinds of activities. And again, you've got all the different dining options all throughout Utah Valley. So if you want that for entertainment, there's just a ton of those. There's a lot of movie theaters. One of the big fall events is going to be Brigham Young University football games. You've got Hale Center Theater in Orem, where they offer very intimate theater seating where you're surrounding the stage. There's just no end to the opportunities that you can for outdoor entertainment. My name's Scott Walters. I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope you found it helpful talking about the cost of living. If you're liking these videos, if they're helpful to you, I really appreciate it. If you like the video, subscribe to my channel. Make sure you click on the notification bell so you can stay current every time I drop another video about what it's like living in Provo, Utah and all the Utah Valley area. So with that, I'm going to catch you on the next video.